Well, the Super Bowl is coming to New Orleans in just over a week, bringing people near and far to watch the game at the Superdome or at home with friends. Wherever you're going to be watching the game, it's important to protect your mental health if your team loses. Our team has already lost, but Dr. Holly McKenna is with Dara Wellness, and she is joining us now. Hopefully, Saints fans have, gotten through the mental health crisis of us not even making the playoffs.
I mean, hopefully we're separated enough that we can just be good hosts and hostesses at this point.
But if you're going to be taking care of any Eagles or Chiefs fans, here's some things you need to know, right? Your mental health and your physical health can actually be affected during these games, which is crazy.
You know, it's really interesting. They have done studies, and for fans during games, they actually physiologically and psychologically have the same changes as players. So like hormonal changes and stress hormones, norepinephrine, all the activating hormones, all the same things as the players on the field. So when we are, in there, we are in there.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, we know that as Houdats, but like it's been found in studies, it's been proven.
I'll never forget after a Saints game that we lost at the very last minute, my husband walking away shaking his head, "What more could I have done?" I'm like, you were not on the field. You couldn't have done anything. But that's how it feels as a fan.
100%.
Like, how could I have fixed it or made it better? That's really interesting that we have the same reactions as the players. So if you find yourself getting too worked up, how can you first monitor yourself to make sure you're not getting too worked up? Because I think a lot of people who get overexcited about it don't realize that they're getting that far.
Yeah. So I mean, it's normal to have those reactions, that's a bad call,
Sure.
and that was a first down, or that wasn't a first down, all those kind of reactions. That's normal. It's actually protective to have those things happen when you're in like the fandom. Like we've talked about Swifties who are also coming back into town. I give our girl T Swift a shout out.
That's true.
But being in that community, that fan culture, you're all kind of experiencing that together, and that's actually been found to be protective because
it's helpful to go through it with other people.
Right. Like, next day in the grocery store, you're talking about it and you're kind of processing it and letting it go. And it's been found that when people are in a fandom, and not just fair weather fans, but like all in Houdat fandom, that is protective. Like, you're more likely to have the disappointment and maybe have it last for days versus months. But there is that danger. So when you're in the game and you're kind of feeling the ups and downs, if you find that you're really getting explosive, like anger is taking over to the point that like you just can't calm yourself down, that's when maybe it is time to take a break and maybe
step outside for a minute.
Step outside, right? Yeah, like just go for a walk. I mean, I told you that before we started talking. My dad used to do that during Duke games. I grew up a Duke fan back before they were winning, and we would have to do that, and that was just a known thing. And my husband now, for folks who know him, he's kind of has to do that as well.
Take a little short walk, even just a minute, taking some deep breaths outside, separating yourself from the game could probably help a lot.
Yes, and exercise is great. Even going for a walk and listening. You can always put it on the radio if you don't want to miss what's happening. And then keeping other interests, like when you are all in for your team and it's during the season, that's great, but maybe don't lose track of what you also like to do, so that when the season ends, whether it be Super Bowl win or loss or before that, like some of us have experienced, maybe all of us that are watching, you have other things to lean on. You have other people to lean on. You can kind of go to those other sources of pleasure and joy and not kind of lose yourself in what's happened with the game.
Great point. Keep those other hobbies, and if your team loses, it is helpful to commiserate with other people who are suffering through that loss.
It really is. It really is.
Thank you, Dr. Holly. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Well,